Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email me directly for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a 2021 launch from Bulgari, now available pre-owned. This is the Octo Finissimo Chronograph GMT titanium with black dial and factory strap. Now, the watch is 42 millimeters in titanium by 7 millimeters thick as I measure it, and from lug to lug, or tip to tip across, it measures 52.3 millimeters. Now we're going to throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it wears quite nicely. Though it is a 42, truthfully it doesn't wear like that. The watch feels more like a 40 millimeter round watch, being extraordinarily thin, even with the automatic winding, the GMT, and the chronograph. It's a watch that I can recommend for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, and you can see no problem whatsoever wearing it with a tight sleeve or a cuff. It is a sporty watch, but it's also handsome enough and graceful enough that it could be your formal watch as well. Now, taking a quick look here, we have a strap that is a combination of textile and then leather. So you've got the combination of the two, different on each side, with a stitch that's monotone, a folded edge, and then a little pivot where it abuts the case. So you can see there is actually a little lug insert here that is attached to a pivot. Now the buckle, as you'll note, is titanium and media blasted like the rest of the watch. And then you can see that the case is that signature Octo Finissimo case. It's the Octo, which as a design dates back to the Gerald Genta days in the year 2000. And it's supposed to have no fewer than 110 facets. That's quite a bit, and I haven't counted, but I'm going to push the I believe button and at least acknowledge that it is a beautiful form. It's handsome and tiered with a nice tension between round and sharp geometric forms, and you can see that tension in the shape of the bezel and the shape of the sapphire, but then there's also a rounded polygon for the inner bezel as well as the dial. We have a little ceramic cabochon on top of the double row knurled crown, and then a matte dial that, as you can see, features a silver on matte black print for a good contrast, not a dramatic sharp contrast, but a handsome grayscale contrast that nicely fits the gentle aesthetic of the watch. The hands, of course, are all media blasted to match the case, and then you can see we have a number of little applique indices, baton form. They're also cropped to form themselves around the individual registers. Now, it appears to be a relatively conventional triple register chronograph, but take note, there is actually a 24-hour dial over at 3 o'clock. So that's your second time zone. And the way this works is you set that second time zone, for example, 12 midnight, just like this. Now we're at 12 midnight. And I have a pusher on the opposite side. I can kick that local hour hand to any time of the day I please. The watch features chronograph pushers that are handsomely integrated into the shoulders around the crown. It is a column wheel chronograph with a very crisp, you can see that column wheel right there, a very crisp action. It's one of the best feeling and sounding column wheel chronographs I've encountered. Of course, it has a conventional twin trigger setup, so you stop and then reset, flip it all over. We have BVL 318. This is a manufacturer movement with a platinum peripheral rotor. So it would have been relatively easy to take the BVL 138 micro rotor automatic from the standard Octo Finissimo automatic and then stick a chronograph mechanism on top of it. Instead, what Bulgari did was they took the 2018 automatic tourbillon caliber BVL 288 and they kept its peripheral winding system, and then they stuck the chronograph mechanism in the donut hole in the middle, which results in a much thinner movement. The movement is broad, properly sized for this case, as it's 37.2 millimeters in diameter, but the caliber, because of the peripheral rotor and the integrated chronograph construction, it's only 3.3 millimeters thick. No compromise, too. With a 55-hour power reserve, it has a full balance bridge to add stiffness to the movement as well as better brace the balance against shock. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It pivots on 37 joules. And again, it has that column wheel actuation with a lateral clutch engagement. It's a combination of machine finishing and hand finishing to a standard that I would consider to be equivalent to what you'll get on a standard FP Journe or Audemars Piguet watch. And considering the price of this watch, especially pre-owned, that is very, very impressive. Also, despite the fact that it is very thin, it still has standard dress watch water resistance at 30 meters. So you're getting an awful lot of functionality with this watch. This is probably my favorite version of this timepiece. Even with the new water-resistant model, I like the combination of the strap, the media-blasted tie case, and that lovely silver and black matte dial. This is visual punch in a compact package. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.